your colleague, your great friend. I worked with Greg as well, but Greg Millen passed away.
Oh, yeah, it has been a really difficult week. I don't mind saying it. I don't mind showing emotion about it. He was a great broadcaster. He was a great teammate. I got to know Greg first as a player. Met him. We're about the same age. I met him. He missed the bus going to the St. Louis Arena when he was playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we ended up driving Greg to the arena in St. Louis, and from that moment on, we were friends. I remember sitting in a bar in Calgary in 1986 with Greg. The Blues had just been eliminated by the Flames in 7 games, and the team wasn't flying out until the next day. And we sat at the end of the bar and talked about life. And I said, when you finish playing, if you decide to ever finish playing, you're going to make a good broadcaster. And that's where the spark started for him. We worked together in Ottawa doing local games there. I hired Greg Millen 4 times, Darren. Silly me. I hired him 4 times, twice at Hockey Night in Canada, once for CTV at the Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway, and then once when we launched the TV channel for the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2001. So we were great friends. There wasn't a day that I wouldn't go by something happened in hockey, and I'd get in the car and I'd say, gosh, I wonder what Millsy thinks. So I'll pick the phone up and phone Greg. Greg was the same way with me. He was driving to the cottage. He'd pick the phone up and say, I'm driving to the cottage. What do you think of this? Or I'm going to Home Depot because Annie wants something new built in the backyard. What'd you think of that game last night? Wasn't that video review stupid? There was so many stories that we told, we shared. The most important thing to him was family. He loved his family. I tried to convince Greg time and time and time again to come and play golf with us. And he'd say, nope, the girls are coming to the lake. The girls are coming to the lake, and we got family time now. I'm away all winter, and now it's family time. So he touched it, and he touched so many people, Darren. And I've learned that, and I've learned that even more so in the last 72 hours. The amount of people that said, this guy treated me like a king. This guy treated me like I was his best friend. He was, I was going to save this for the memorial service next week, but it's too good to not say now, is that he was an only child. His mom and dad were really proud of him. He was an only child, so he didn't have any brothers. But in the end, he had thousands of brothers. And we were all his brothers.
Terry Bach, he's the producer. There's a rotation on the Calgary Flames broadcast, and that's where Greg was last working on the Flames regional telecast. And I saw both Greg and Terry when they came through Vegas, and knowing that Terry's he's not new to the job, but he's not a long-term veteran either. I said, so what's it like? You got John Abbott, new play-by-play guy, and Greg's here. And he's like, you wouldn't believe how helpful Greg is on the talk back and talking about storylines coming into the game and then post-game. He said he has been so supportive of me, both during the game and around the game. And that warmed my heart. I didn't anticipate ever telling that story, to be honest, because it was just a conversation in passing. But now it seems so important.
He was a great team player. He wanted you to succeed as much as he wanted to succeed himself. So it's really sad. I think and this becomes a cliche for lots of people who pass away, but they'd be embarrassed with all the attention. Truly, Greg would be, and Greg, he'd be shaking his head, he'd be talking out of the side of his mouth and saying, "This is stupid. We're not talking about me. We don't want to be. This is just the stupidest thing. I don't want to be talking about me. I want to be talking about the game."
He had this. He had a snorkel, I called it.
Oh, yeah.
Like a snort / chuckle. that would go simultaneous.
Yeah. No, it's today's a better day than yesterday, and then on Monday. But there are 3 or 4 times today in my drive to work that I was thinking of a storyline that I'd say, you know what, I better phone Greg, and I realized I couldn't.
He played goal for a long time in the league, too.
14 years. 14 years. Yeah. He was a great athlete. He was a great pianist. He was he could play drums. He was a great musician. And by the way, I did drag him out twice a year to play golf with a couple of friends of ours that you know and I know, and that we called it the World Championships. We played the World Championships twice a summer. And it was the old guys versus the young guys. I mean, Greg and I were the old guys, and most of the time the old guys prevailed.